If you like Rapunzel, this video might not be for you. This is the true story of what the fairy tale is based off of, and a little bit of a warning, it's not pretty. Rapunzel is based off of a girl named Barbara who grew up in Italy in the 13th century. She was apparently so beautiful that her father locked her away in a tower so she could never have a relationship with a man. Though many men still found a way to try and court her, she turned all of them down, stating that she had a relationship with only God. She was a newfound Christian. Her dad, however, was a pagan and was not happy about her being a Christian. When her father found out, he pulled a sword on her and told her if he ever saw her praying again, she would regret it. Rapunzel, afraid from her life, prayed that there was a way she could escape her father. According to legend, a hole then opened in the side of her tower, giving her a chance to escape. Unfortunately, as she was escaping, her father found her and cut off her head. Think about that next time you watch Tangled. Like this video if you want more of these.
Boy, did this kid pick a good night to have his phone out filming. In 2008, a teen decided he wanted to film himself playing the very creepy Midnight Game. In a nutshell, you turn off all the lights in your house and you walk around from midnight to 3:33 a.m. And if at any point you stop moving, the Midnight Man will attack you. Around 2 a.m., the kid thinks he hears something in the kitchen, but he also thinks his mind's just playing tricks on him because he is playing this game. But he goes to check it out anyways. When he gets downstairs, he doesn't hear anything, but he does see that his door is now open. And when he goes to shut it, someone pushes back. He sprints away, goes upstairs, jumps into his room, but keeps filming.
This is why you should never stay awake past 3 a.m. A woman in her early 20s was away from home on a business trip. The night before she was supposed to board her plane, she had trouble sleeping and had this intense fear that someone was staring at her in her room.
She was up until
3, tossing and turning until she started to hear whispers. It was a deep voice repeating the words, "I'm coming to get you, I'm coming to get you." But she ignored it and eventually fell asleep. After her plane landed, she was exhausted but drove home anyway. About 30 minutes into her drive, she started hearing the same whispers from the previous night, but she thought it was because she was sleep deprived, so she kept driving. She was almost home when she began to feel sick. Her eyes were watering, her nose was running, and she let out a large sneeze. "Bless you," said the same deep, eerie voice. She quickly pulled into her driveway, hugged her husband, and sat down to tell him what was going on. When this happened,
I can still hear that voice.
Things like this happens when people act stupid. In 2012, a group of teenagers thought it was a good idea to go investigate a potential paranormal activity at an abandoned mansion that was said to be haunted. Some of them brought a knife, to defend themselves from ghosts. They got into the house and immediately noticed the bad smell coming from it, but they kept on going anyway. They saw creepy pictures on the wall and even weird equipment that looked like torture devices. When they were done sightseeing, they turned around to go home, but all the doors and windows closed at once, and things started happening. The furniture in the house started moving on its own, and the pictures came alive. One of the girls in the group got lucky and she passed out. She woke up the next morning to a horrible sight. She saw the slaughtered body of her friends all over the place. She then ran outside and called the cops. The authorities later found out that a weird gas was released in the house, and it made the teenagers hallucinate and go crazy, thereby killing each other. And that's for the girl who survived. She couldn't handle what happened that night, so she had a mental breakdown and spent most of her life at a psychiatric hospital.
She must have been out of her head. Here it is.
This is the dark mirror, and it's one of the most haunted items in the world. The original owner of this mirror purchased it at a psychic fair, but immediately claimed that there was something very evil about it. So she donated it to a traveling museum for the paranormal. This museum has a whole bunch of different paranormal objects, but the dark mirror is by far the most horrifying. The museum actually has to keep the mirror covered and tell people that if they're going to look into it, they have to do so at their own risk. Because the people who are brave enough almost always regret it. The people who have looked into the mirror claim to feel an immediate sense of doom and depression. But for others, it was far more horrifying. Some claim to see their own facial expressions warp and twist, and others would look into it and see their own dead body. The people who hold the mirror claim to feel a strange sense of electricity. And every night, the museum workers cover up the mirror. Every morning, they find it mysteriously uncovered.
Creepy True Stories Part 1. Elisa Lam was visiting the California Cecil Hotel when she strangely disappeared. Surveillance shows her coming in and out of an elevator almost as if she's scared of somebody or possessed or something, seeing a ghost, but there's nobody there. Nobody could explain this strange behavior. One day, customers of the hotel started tasting something weird in the water. When they went to check the water tanks, they found Lisa's body in it. No drugs or alcohol was found in her autopsy. And to this day, nobody knows what happened to Lisa.